Here.
Nate.
Here.
Sarah.
Here.
Travis.
Here.
And Stephanie's excused. Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright. I need a motion for the consent agenda.
I motion to the consent agenda.
And a motion to have a second.
I'll second.
A motion to second, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Public input, this is the time and place for discussions, items not already on the agenda with a time limit of 3 minutes each. Anybody got anything to say? Alright. Lisbon Historical Preservation Presentation of Annual Report. Anybody out there?
Dan.
Hi, Ann. I think you're on.
You're muted.
I think you're on mute.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
There you go.
Yes.
Okay. Lisbon's been a certified local government for 30 years now. So Lisbon signed an agreement with the state office back in 1991. And in order to maintain that status, we have to file an annual report. In the past, we've been able to just do this, but in recent years, the state office has added a requirement that we publicly present our annual report. So that's our purpose in being here tonight. You have all received a copy of that report in your packet. Is that right? Have you seen it?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I will just go through a couple of things just to highlight and reinforce. If you don't mind, I won't take a lot of time. We obviously had a very ambitious agenda in front of us in January of 2020. And after COVID hit, those ambitious goals kind of went to the wayside, but we adjusted and we dialed back, and we still continue to do the things that we thought were important to the role of our commission and our community. Most notably, though, we had planned a rather large community-wide celebration of the designation of the Main Street Historic District to the National Register. And we had engaged with a number of groups and organizations, both within and outside of the city of Lisbon, in that celebration, but it's all on hold. So that's something that we were not able to accomplish, and it's unclear, given today's circumstances, whether or not we'll be able to reschedule that or not, but we try to remain hopeful. We did continue with our education outreach with the third grade students over at Lisbon schools. This will be the 10th year that we've worked with them. And it's something that both the school and the Historic Preservation Commission looks forward to every year. We had to move the activity online, but at least we were able to do that. We were, with the help of Amy White and her son Jefferson White, we were able to do an additional video for our Opening Doors to Lisbon History series. So Amy and Jeff, working with our organization and probably others, were able to put together a video, and that's been circulated far and wide. We also worked with the History Center of Cedar Rapids to produce a virtual walking tour of the historic downtown area, and that video has also been circulated. More so on the preservation side, with the support of the city, and we'd like to thank you for that support, we were able to engage the services of a preservation architect to develop a preservation plans for both the library and for the History Center buildings. And in 2021, we will work with the city to begin implementation of those plans with a focus on those life safety issues that were outlined in those reports. Over at the nature park, we were able to complete a site inventory and a National Register nomination for the Myers Farmstead Historic District. That nomination has been approved at the state level, is sitting at the federal office, and we expect to hear that we've been successful in getting that designation sometime in March or so. And just as an aside, with the encouragement and the approval of the State Historical Society, we have already moved forward with the next step towards preserving those barns by applying for a field services grant. And we hope to start work on that as soon as the designation is official. So we also continue in our role to support the city's downtown reinvestment grant program. And as we mention to you every year, we're appreciative of the city for their support of that program. It's important to us to do that. We've also been working on our website, we've been working on our YouTube channel, and we've been working on our Facebook page. And so we have a presence out there for both our organization and for our community. And at the national level, this year we participated in the National Trust for Historic Preservation's Where Women Made History program with a submission relating to the Lisbon's Women Relief Corps efforts to bring a boulder from the Gettysburg battlefield to the Lisbon Cemetery to honor Lisbon's Civil War veterans. And one of our major accomplishments this year that's much appreciated at the state level is that all of our members participated in the Preserve Iowa Summit. This is the big state conference. It was easy for us to do that because it was online. So those are, we had a lot of challenges along the way, but those are basically some of the things that we worked on. There's a lot more detail that's available to you if you look at that. If you look at that extensive report that we have to file. I would like to take this opportunity, though, to express our appreciation for the support that we received from the mayor and from the city council and from the city staff for the work that we do on behalf of the city. And on a personal note, we would especially like to thank John Bardsley, who serves as our council liaison. He's been very diligent in attending our meetings, and he contributes to our meetings, and I know that he carries our voices forward to you. Do you have any questions about the report?
I don't. Anybody got any questions?
I do not.
No. I don't think so, Ann.
Okay, that's great. So I'd like to hear.
Doing a good job.
Thank you, Ann. You're welcome.
I don't know if you want to stay on for the next one, it's discussion and possible action on purchasing trailblazing signs from the Iowa DOT for historical district. Ooh.
Brandon, do you want me to speak to that, or do you want to speak to that?
I can go over it, you can fill in the blanks.
Okay.
So you'll see in the packet, well, first off, the DOT has offered to put up signs on the bypass, as well as out on Highway 1 North at Washington Street. However, to put the one up on Highway 30 at the bypass, they would require the additional signs that I have in the packet, the 3 locations, to show, once you get off the bypass, where the historic district would be. So there'd be one out on Lisbon Boulevard with an arrow towards Business 30, down Business 30 to the west. And then they have one at Casey's for westbound traffic showing the historic district downtown, and then one over across from Fat Guys Motorsports there on Highway 30 for the eastbound traffic. As you can see, the cost there is not a lot. However, one thing I wanted to bring up why it's on the agenda basically is, you notice in the one picture with Casey's where it says business district, it was my thought maybe just to replace that with historic downtown. I just want to make sure you guys are good with that, or do you think it's important to have the business district sign remain?
I personally think that it'd be all right just to put the historical one there instead of as a business district. I mean, that's just me personally.
I agree.
I don't see a problem with changing out.
Ann, did I miss anything?
No, may I ask the cost of those trailblazer signs though?
It was
Did you get it
$120, I believe,
for the three of them?
for each one.
Oh, for each one, okay.
Yep. Yeah, 120 each.
We have, for a long time, felt that it's really important, once we get properties and districts designated to the National Register, that we get these brown signs up. And so, to direct people, and so people understand where they're supposed to be going and not driving around in circles looking for something. And this will tie in with future plans that we have for walking tours and for audio tours and things like that. We just need to point people in the right direction. And with the new Highway 30 out there, we thought it was especially important that we don't get lost in the mix. So, there's a lot of people out there who take their Saturday drives, Sunday drives, and they see those brown signs and they turn, they follow them, they see what's going on. So it helps with tourism and it helps the economy.
I have one thing maybe, Ann, that you guys could do, for the downtown historical district, maybe get like little window stickers that they could put them in their windows to let them know that they're historical buildings. And maybe that's something you can look at too.
Yeah, we've been thinking about a number of things along that line. Right now, we have the national logo that we use. It kind of looks like an orange or a red balloon. It says "This Place Matters." That is a national. That's a national sign for a historic registered property. We're looking at QR codes. We're looking at plaques. We're looking at all sorts of different things. We just need to take this to the next level. We're not sure how to do that or how expensive it might be. And so we just talked about that when we were doing our goals and action plans for 2021. So we will be doing something.
Okay.
It's hard to affix like a bronze plaque to some of those buildings because you damage the facade when you do that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
So we're working on it. It's a great suggestion though, thank you.
Okay. Do I have a motion to purchase these?
So moved.
Got a motion by John. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Second by Sarah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, get those ordered. 6A, Resolution 11/21/21, approving agreement for camera installation on city properties. I think you want to stand up here and tell us a little bit about them?
First off, just so you guys are aware, we did get 3 bids. The one bid it was kind of the email to Iowa surveillance team. As you can see, it's not very detailed. We've had some issues. Those are the cameras that are over at the city park, right? Yep. The maximum sight and sound bid is very similar to the RC Tech bid. The RC Tech bid, and this would go for the maximum sight and sound, they did not include the time and material cost of installing the camera, so that's where you'll see in the resolution, which Mike Day is here. He would also like to, because of the unknown of getting the camera out front, and if we have issues with the line of sight down to the History Center, he would like to basically add 10% to that, so I'd like to move that number to 12.5, not to exceed 12.5. You'll see in the packet, we're going to call this a public safety. This is a public safety reason why we're doing this. We're putting the cameras downtown. There'll be one on the door for entrance into the city hall. I'm working with Chief Shannon to move the drug box from upstairs outside, which would be a great idea to, 1, get it out of here, and 2, have a camera on it. And then the thought would be is to put on the corner of the library 2 cameras, 1 each direction, It would be on the same platform as the system here. So all of our system would be on the same platform. We would put a camera down at the gazebo. That would be more of a stationary camera that we could move manually. And then also we would be replacing the cameras at the park. Replacing the cameras here at City Hall. They're currently analog. They'd be onto a better system. So anyway, I'll let Mike Day talk, but that would be my recommendation, was to proceed with RC Tech. It's a local company, and we thought they did good work here.
Hey, Mike?
Sure, thanks, Brandon. So, I'm not sure if, I guess we can go through each of these components as much detail as you want. So, as Brandon said, here at City Hall, we've got 4 cameras existing, and those are an older analog system. We're looking to replace those with an IP version camera, and then also an NVR, which is the digital recorder for the IP cameras. That unit would be upstairs, and then of course we have the wiring to replace as well for those 4 cameras. And then we'd be adding the 1 camera for outdoor for the, we'll call them the pillbox, where that's going to be located outside off the front. From there, we're looking at the downtown on the library building. A couple of cameras. It's going to be located up high on the be the northwest corner of the building, and we'd be looking. We'd have one on the west side and one on the north side of that building, and we'd be able to see the intersections from there. Those are what they call a pan tilt zoom camera, so it's got full range of motion. So we'd be able to move that around. If there's events, of any type, we can position those cameras differently. That's just done off of an app, so you guys can move that around. The platforms would be the same; they'd be shared. So when we pull it up, you'd be able to see the live view and recorded content. It'll all be shared with whoever needs to have access to that kind of thing. Those 2 cameras again would be pan tilt zoom cameras, and those would be on the library building. From there, the city park, not replacing the cameras and wiring there. Instead, right now, the components for that system are located in the pool house, in that pool room. Highly corrosive with different chemicals and stuff there. So what we'd like to do is leave those cameras. Right now, our assumption is all those cameras are working in working condition. We want to move that equipment essentially from there over to the other building there in the park, and then we'll have a locking cabinet that would be inside that building, and get away from the pool chemicals and that kind of thing. Then with that, there's a possibility that the internet could get extended into that building, which would be fabulous if we can do that. If not, we've got plans, and that's part of the reason for the contingency money in there, is to make sure that we can cover the back fee for those cameras, because we're trying to reuse the existing wiring as well, as much as we can. So we'll be trenching from the pool building over to the other building across there. And then from there too, we'd have the gazebo, and that is a single camera on the gazebo, stationary, and it could be moved manually, but that's got we have a single camera for that, just to see, traffic there, foot traffic, vehicle traffic. It can be aimed again if we need to for certain events or whatnot, for public safety and so forth. We have, and that is a standalone one. That one would be, the others would all be able to be reviewed, the live content and the recorded content can be viewed remotely or on site. One of the gazebo, we'd have to be on site to pull that. There's currently no internet access there. And so if we find that that's a necessity, we've got some contingency plans for that as well, if we need to get internet access to that gazebo. But at this point, it didn't sound like it would necessarily be a real hot topic. Currently, we're waiting on the pond rec area. Realizing there's going to be some activity over there, we didn't want to put something that ends up essentially being an island, and we might not be able to reuse somewhere else, so we thought, now let's just hold off on that particular space, but we did take a look at that area as well.
So that's not in the bid?
It's in there, we decided maybe put that on hold, at least as we were talking through, but we do have it in there, it's about an $800 cost. That particular, there's no monthly fees on the other cameras, that particular one does though. I don't have power and I don't have internet, so because of that, it's a cellular device, and it's also solar for the power side of it, but the cellular component carries a monthly fee in order to be able to receive, and that's just photographs, it's not gonna be video clips. So it's essentially a hybrid, high-end trail camera, if you will, would essentially be what that is.
Okay, so you say you could use the equipment that's at the park right now?
We're gonna replace we're gonna reuse the DSL, presumably or possibly, depending on if they can get internet over to the other structure, the pavilion. If they can, then they'll provide new internet equipment for that. If not, then we'll reuse the existing DSL equipment for internet. We will put in a new NVR, new recorder box, keep using the same cameras.
Because I'm just kind of looking at that, and, to get all brand new, it's $700 more. Am I reading that right?
I'll tell you what, I don't know if I actually closed that for
I
you.
think that's, are you looking option 1, option 2?
Yeah.
That's City Hall.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that's just at City Hall.
Never mind.
That's why we went on option 2 on City Hall, because of that reason.
Yeah, but, at the park, one thing that's nice about these recording units is they're backward compatible with the resolution you have currently. But if you come back and say, hey guys, we really want to upgrade the cameras on say on the pool side of it, or on the playground, or whatever, we can upgrade those. So the box will handle upgrades to the camera resolutions, and the cabling's all going to be universal. So it'll support what you've got today and anything new as far as that goes.
I'm just here with the box in the pool house right now, or the pump house. A year down the road, you don't know what the chemicals have done to it. Are we better off replacing it right now?
Well, so we're gonna replace the recording unit. The network gear, that's yet to be determined. So there's a real possibility that might be. Right now, we're kind of planning at least replacing the router. The modem would be provided by an ISP, which I forget who that is right now off the top of my head. The modem will be theirs, which I'm sure we could end up talking to them. Now, if they upgrade the internet to the facility, then we're probably gonna get a new modem anyhow. So then that would essentially cover that. So any of those components that have been exposed would essentially be gone away with, which was the main concern. We'll have a different surge protector and all of that kind of stuff as well. So I think most of that stuff's gonna go away. And then the only thing you've got, we won't have any active electronics left in that building when we're done.
We got any questions? Travis, you got any questions for him?
Yeah, I wanted to know, you said something about the monthly fee for the cameras the cameras that you weren't gonna do right now because they were cellular. Is there any other monthly fees that we have, any maintenance agreements or anything like that that would be in this? I didn't see any of that.
No, there's not. The app for the mobile devices is free for Android or Apple, and there's no monthly fees for any of the other devices.
One thing I will say is we could come back and negotiate with them after the fact for a maintenance agreement to just ongoing maintenance and protection, but I wanted to get through this first before we went and did that.
I was wondering about.
Is that it, Travis?
Yep, that's it for me.
Okay. John, you got anything?
No, it sounds good.
Okay. Nate?
Yeah, I'm good.
Sarah?
I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you for explaining it all.
I would just
Motion for that?
Well,
request that number be 12.5, not
Yep.
whoops there.
I move to approve to the 12.5.
Got a motion by Travis, do I have a second?
Second.
John?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Okay, when are you gonna start this thing? I don't expect it next week. The weekend after would be perfect.
I'm not sure.
I mean, I understand with weather and everything. I did notice on there that you will be using our bucket truck.
Yes.
You talked about that, right?
I was gonna reach out to Travis about figuring that out. That was gonna be one option for the land site if it was needed, as opposed to renting a lift.
All right. Public hearing for revised proposed maximum property tax levy, fiscal year 22 budget. Motion to go to public hearing.
I motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing. At 7:27.
I apologize to have to bring this back up, but apparently, when they first did this report and put it online for us to use, I did it right away. They did find that there was an error on the form. It was pulling up the prior year valuations instead of the current year that we were supposed to use. So the one that we did on time and ahead of time and had the wrong amounts on it. So we had to redo that. The state did send out an email back, what we find, December 23rd, something like that. But I did not get that email. It must have come to Jeff. So unfortunately, we had to redo this. It still does show the same 7.74 that says we would go down, but that is basically because we no longer will be levying for benefits for the police department, and that's why it shows it went down. But reality, our tax rate will go up this next year because of debt service levy. This report is not required to have debt service levy on it, so it's very, very misleading to the public, but it's required. So that's the reason for redoing that.
Anybody any questions?
Nope.
Nope. Motion to go to public hearing.
I motion.
Second?
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution 06-2021, approving the revised maximum property tax levy for fiscal year 22 budget.
Motion to approve.
And a motion to have second.
Second.
Motion is second. Sarah?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Nick? Travis?
Aye.
Third and final reading of ordinance 01-2021 snow removal. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. John?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Third and final reading of ordinance 02-2021 special speed zones. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Third reading.
A motion and a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Travis?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Resolution 07-2021 approving 28E agreement with Lynn County Public Health and Rental on nuisance inspection services.
So I met with Lynn County Public Health in reference to this last week. Basically, the agreement we currently have expired. So they want to get something in place prior to the fiscal year. As you see in the notes there, the price that they were charging for their hourly fee, which is really the only difference in the agreement, was $52.17 an hour. They've increased it to $57.42 an hour. And it'll stay in effect through February 16th, 2023. There was some language about the fiscal year, but I think what happens is if we don't agree to the contract or extend it, they would go through the end of fiscal year 2023.
And that cost is just a pass-through, right?
Yes.
Anybody got any questions?
Nope.
Got a motion?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion by John, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second. John?
Aye.
Travis?
Aye.
Nate?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Resolution 10-2021 approving a member to the Lisbon Fire Department.
So this is to approve Bill Stute to the Lisbon Fire Department. He was a member for several years in the past. He had resigned due to personal reasons about 5 years ago, and he has applied to come back, and went through the review board, and the department voted on them last week.
I move to approve.
That motion,
I'll second.
Travis,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Nate,
Aye.
Sarah.
Aye.
Resolution 12/2021, approving fire protection agreement between the city of Lisbon and Pioneer Township.
This is the yearly contract with Pioneer Township, which is the rural township for Cedar County, the coverage area. So as you can see, the money's basically the only thing that changes, and it's all based on the 66 2/3 tax rate that is the maximum they can charge. So you can see this year's amount's going to be $12,257.28. Yeah, that's pretty much the only difference.
All right. Any motion?
I'll move to approve.
Got a motion by Travis, or a second?
Second.
Second by Sarah. Sarah,
Aye.
Nate,
Aye.
John,
Aye.
Travis.
Aye.
So public hearing for fiscal year 21 budget amendment number 2. The next meeting will be March 8th. And that give you guys enough time.
Yep.
Move to set the public hearing for March 8th.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So public hearing for fiscal year 22 budget.
This one needs to be the 22nd, if you would.
Good.
Motion to
I'll move to set the public hearing for the 22nd.
I'll second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence. Okay.
Just I put in the energy report for you. That's really not correspondence, but that's the only thing that,
Didn't save a lot, but I think a lot of it was covered with snow.
I'm sure. And cloudy days.
Yeah. All right. City engineer report. Dave, you there?
I'll get that on.
Do you have anything, you know?
He's working on the water main, the well. We're also still working on 30, trying to get that out. Brandon received an email saying the county's moving ahead with theirs, so we're trying not to be, we're kind of behind the 8 ball, but we're trying not to miss out on an opportunity to go in and save some money with somebody else.
Okay. I'm gonna skip you. Park and Rec's correct.
We got Saturdays are our last games for boys basketball, and I started registrations for spring soccer today. Other than that, that's it for sports. I'm gonna meet with Travis this week to hopefully get a quote for the tractor that we're looking at for Park and Rec. So I'll get that to you guys when we have that figured out.
All right. Is that it? Is that it, Creighton?
Yeah, that's it, sorry.
Police department report.
Council's got the police report. Wanted to make sure, first of all, the format of that police report provides you the information that you're looking for. If you have other suggestions or things you're looking for, definitely let me know that. But it's kind of nice to see what both communities are doing in one document and kind of see back and forth from that standpoint. So I thought that worked pretty well from there. We are deploying, we received our patches, so we are putting them on uniforms right now and are starting to wear those. Vehicles are gonna start getting graphics starting later this week. And so you'll start to see the new police graphics come out on the squad cars as well. So really every day, just kind of stepping, getting everything kind of ironed out and bugged out from there. So that's all I got.
You got anything for Doug?
I don't, thank you.
Thank you.
I think the report looks just fine the way it is, so,
Okay.
thank you.
Fire chief report.
I don't have anything fire related.
City administrators.
Started background checks for the new public works employee. I've worked with Scott Morningstar today on the derecho claim for the insurance claim from the storm. Basically, we're gonna essentially start over on that because there's a lot of things that aren't on there or weren't documented correctly. Part of it was that they sent a independent appraiser from Alabama up here during that storm, and there's just a lot of things missing. So I will say that EMC has agreed to bring a structural engineer out to the barns to to make sure that they are structurally sound. I know that there's ideas to have farmers markets and people in and around those barns, so we want to make sure that they're safe for the public, so they've offered to do that. Been working pretty consistently for several days now with Connie on the budget. I know she's put in a lot of work on it, a lot of long hours, so I appreciate her help with that. Comprehensive plan, the first meeting will be the 1st of March. You'll be getting an email, those that are on the committee, on a survey of what time works best. So please make sure you fill out that survey. And then I would like to have the first workshop for the handbook on the March 8th meeting at 6 o'clock, if that works.
That'll work for me.
That works for me.
Will that work for you, Travis?
You can do it, I might be a little late.
Okay. John, work for you?
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
Nope.
That's it.
I just wanted to piggyback off of Brandon. I did give you guys a couple sheets. You got the certification page from the budget in your packets. This is just a draft, it's not the final one. Brandon and I are about 98% through with the budget. So as you can see at the bottom on the right-hand corner, that's what our tax rate would probably go up to this next year. It is an increase from this current year, but we got to take into consideration, we just borrowed $5 million to do all these projects, and that's debt service levy is going to, is the cause of raising the rate. Just to note that the last 6 years, our rate has went down every year, so people have been saving for the last 6 years, and now it's going to go up.
What is our tax rate right now, Connie?
Our tax rate right now is 11 something. It is 11.62375. And then the other page that I put up there is just where we're at so far with the budget. I highlighted the revenues and expenditures, so you can take a look at that. Like I said, these are not the final numbers, but this is going to be pretty close to where we're at. And like I told you in the, was it 2 meetings ago, that this next year, we're not going to have a balanced budget because this current year we took in all the revenues for the bonds, and we're not going to spend that money until next fiscal year, or most of it next fiscal year. So if you look in special revenues, expenditures are going to drastically be more than the revenues, and that's because we're budgeting to do Business 30. We did receive the money this year from the DOT, but we're going to expend it next year. If you look in capital projects, we took all the money in this year for the bond, but we will be spending it next year for the well, for the water line project, and for phase 1 of the sports complex. So that's why those numbers look quite a bit different, but those are the reasons. So, like I said, we'll set the public hearing, we set the public hearing, so we'll have all the rest of the budget information for you on that date on the 22nd.
All right, anybody got anything else for her? All right, let's go back to the Public Works Director report. Joyce?
The one thing I talked to Brandon about, and I talked to Doug about, is I'd like to get signs posted for a parking lot out front here to be no overnight parking. We do snow emergency. A lot of those tenants come over here and park. We can't clear this off then. The cars normally sit here most of the day. We don't have a safe spot for our business to be operated out of. So this year has been far worse than any other, so I'd like to just make that no overnight parking, just to solve that.
This parking lot here?
Yes.
Okay.
What they did to us this time is they actually cleaned their cars off when they came to pick them up this morning, and that's actually froze on the sidewalk because that's where it landed. So we had to sit there and fight basically a big iceberg off the sidewalk. The other thing is I got a phone call from the PD last night asking what we wanted to do with cars parked, even though the snow emergency was declared. I feel like we've given them enough warning. We agreed upon ticketing last night. I'd like your blessing with Chief Shannon right here that from now on, I mean, we throw the hook on them and hopefully they learn.
That's, you know, like,
I think we've talked about it enough to warn
yeah,
people.
2 months at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they can't get it now, then they're not gonna get it until they actually have to see that they come out and their car's not there
And I
or
don't,
whatever.
I don't feel that officers need to keep beating down doors and trying to
No,
find people.
no,
so.
it's not anything to chase them
Yeah.
over. We're not babysitters.
Some of the issue with that may become, availability of tow service, would be the
Oh,
other thing.
sure,
We
yeah.
generally always try to stay local.
sure.
You know, Dwayne's is our go-to around here, if he's available and doing things like that. Our second go-to is pretty much Dara's out of Hiawatha.
Yeah,
So you also got to balance, do we want to pull a tow truck out of Cedar Rapids in the middle of a snowstorm
right.
to come do that for safety reasons and stuff like
Does,
that too?
does
So-
Bud?
But the tickets should be
Yeah.
automatic.
Right.
So.
Does Bud's have a 24-hour tow?
I don't know if they're 24, I can swing in and talk to them.
We've called them, okay, we use them as well.
I was gonna
It's
say
kinda-
they
yeah.
might be one
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, we always try local first, obviously, to go from there.
We're getting phone calls, City Hall and Public Works, about where our piles have to be, and businesses can't function when they have a snow pile in front of there that should be placed somewhere else, so I just want to nip this in the bud and be done with it.
you have that one.
Travis, I just wanted to comment on the no parking out here. There is one guy that was given permission to park out there. He is a government employee and he has a government vehicle that he's not allowed to park at his home. He has to park it on a government, public facility. So he was given permission to park out there, so if you guys change the rule, make sure he gets notified.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, I mean, you can pull it down into the city shop for that day, or whatever. I mean,
He's one of the worst ones, actually. He won't move it for days on end, and we can't get our garbage, normally the dumpster dumped, because we got snow piled around there, so. I mean, I understand we gave him permission, but he hasn't been very copacetic working with us on this process either. That's it.
Who did we hire?
What?
Who, is there the public works? Oh,
About people plowing snow and stuff.
Oh, I did talk to Brandon too. He's gonna send letters to the businesses and to the contractors. We spend, I think we figured it out, about 2.5 hours chasing after contractors that have removed snow for business and not cleaning up after them. It's getting worse. We're spending taxpayer money to clean up after contractors were paid to do a job. And we want to start enforcing our laws a little more on that. Brandon's gonna work on sending letters to see if we can get it fixed. Other than that, we're gonna have to take other action with your guys' approval on that.
You don't need our approval, it's in our code. I mean, 135.12, it's in our, I looked it up. It's in our code, you can't push snow into the street, onto the sidewalks. I don't know what it says, but it's in our code. As far as that, it's in our code, how is that? I mean, if
I
they
have to
would
look
call
at
you.
that specific code to see, is that, Brandon, you know if that's a municipal infraction?
Yeah.
Okay. So it'd be handled through your city attorney's office,
But would we send a ticket or would you?
the city attorney.
Okay. So we might need to look into giving them some sort of cameras that they can take pictures if we end up sending out tickets to these people or.
And we've been sending letter upon letter all winter long, and it's just getting to be where, I mean, he saw it firsthand this time. We had an area cleaned up. Somebody cleaned off another property, and you couldn't even tell we were there, so.
I would assume this would go to the owner of the property, not the
Correct.
driver. So I was gonna start by speaking to the owners of the property first. If there's 3 right now that we need to talk to, right?
Yep.
Because, I mean, it's just, it's sad, I mean, our guys bust their butts to clean the town up, and then you got certain people that just think they can put their snow wherever they want, and the city will clean up after it. I had Dan Clark haul out 3 loads of snow from out behind the bar that I had, and I mean, it cost me $350. I mean, I'd love to have the city pay for that. So, I mean, anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Glad to see you can finally see streets. All right. Council reports. Travis?
So, I just wanted to say, you know, I stayed home specifically so I could see what it was like with the cameras and the new Zoom and all that. One suggestion that I have is, audience needs to step up to the mic. It gets kind of hard for people that are on the call itself to hear what they're saying. You guys that all have mics, it sounds real good. But that's one thing I would suggest, just going forward, be making sure that people come up to the mic so that they can be heard. Other thing I wanted to know, and I know I bring this up all the time, but I thought we were doing an annexation study, and I haven't seen anything on that. Is that just not going anywhere, or what's going on with that?
Dave hasn't been at the last 2 meetings, so we haven't had an update.
And I think that's probably part of the comprehensive plan also. I mean, some of it is. So, I mean, we have, no, I mean, we haven't done anything on it per se, but I mean, it's, we haven't done anything on it per se, but we have done stuff on it. I mean, it's in our comprehensive plan. Dave's looked into it, is doing stuff with it, so.
Okay. Do you think we can get some kind of an update at the next meeting?
I'll Brandon get hold of Dave and see what he's talked about.
Okay. Other than that, you know, I don't really have anything else. Those were the 2 things I wanted to make sure I touched on.
Okay. Thanks. John?
If you tried to get a hold of Southeast Lynn on this past Friday and couldn't get through, they were signing up people for COVID shots in Solon. They had 2 people answering the 2 lines. They have cordless phones, and the next problem was their phones were losing battery power because they couldn't hang them up to recharge. They would hang up from one call and they'd get another one. So as before noon on Friday, I stopped in, they already had over 200 signed up. So I don't know whether they got that all completed. I know I was down there working in the food pantry Sunday and the phone was still ringing. So.
They're full.
I think that's
I was gonna say, I think I saw something that they're full, so.
And I see Thursday, they talk about Johnson & Johnson's vaccine, which probably will mean it'll be approved Friday. And that's a one-shot deal that can be stored at refrigeration. So, I mean, it's coming along. People just need to be patient. I mean, it'll come along sooner or later. Anything else, Sean?
That's it. Thank you.
Nate?
I don't really have anything other than just continued gratitude to the city workers for keeping our streets clear and all the work you guys have done. It was nice to see the streets again, the concrete and blacktop.
So now I notice we got a bunch of holes.
That's it, thank you.
I haven't seen my street yet, but I'm positive that I will eventually. It's still snow, it's still packed with snow, but, you guys are still doing a great job regardless if my street's not the best yet, but there's no place to put the darn stuff, so what do you do? I personally wanted to thank, the Lisbon Fire Department, Mount Vernon Fire Department, Mount Vernon Ambulance. They actually assisted us in a call at our business, last week due to our furnace, fan going out. It smelled like an electrical fire, so we called and just make sure before we left the place that it wasn't gonna go up in flames. So, but they were able to come out and reassure us that. So thank you very much, you guys. Brandon was there, Drayton was there. So, that's all I have. Oh, there was something I was gonna say. I don't know if we've ever thought about doing this, and I don't know if Mount Vernon does it, but I just saw a thing that Tipton is starting to do it, it's adopt the fire hydrant. Are we still having issues with fire hydrants getting
I mean, we're doing them, we're cleaning out storm intakes, and as we go by a hydrant, we're
Yeah.
addressing it, so.
Well, I didn't know if we came up with adopt a fire hydrant for the winter months, that maybe groups could adopt it, whether it's a Blazers football team or baseball team, or, you know, maybe Parks and Rec could join in, and maybe, I don't know, it's just an idea. That way, those fire hydrants that aren't sitting on somebody's property, that aren't it reduces the stuff that you guys have to do, you know? It's just an idea. I thought I'd throw it out there.
We've gone to, as a fire department, we have our Facebook page, and we've actually put videos on there.
Yep, I know, I've seen them.
So, you know, I know that, this year's probably an anomaly, but, you know, if people could help, that'd be great. I know that we have guys that go out, periodically and do it, but I know it's just every 3 or 4 days, I think people are tired of shoveling snow. But
I think so too.
you know, if people understand, you know, it's gonna take a minimum 3 to 5 minutes to clean that out, at least get down to the point where we can.
I mean, I know there was a couple high school boys, that one big snowstorm, they were going to people's houses and clearing their sidewalks. I think the high school boys need something, I mean, if we could just get a few people to adopt some of those, or something, and maybe throw something back at them, I don't know, maybe have businesses, go around to businesses and see if they'll donate gift cards, and we can, I don't know, it's just, I just got to thinking about that, and I saw Tipton was starting to do it, and they incorporated their FFA and their 4-Hers, you know, and the 4-H groups and things like that. So it's just something I thought I would throw it out there and kind of alleviate some of the stuff that the city workers, they don't have to do, or even the firemen that are taking the time to clear a few, it might not be a bad idea.
I'll see if I can put something in the school daily Friday.
Yeah, that would be a great place to start too. That's all I got.
I just got a couple things. First of all, remember when our school board meeting is? May, was it?
Well, it might be into April, before they start. I think it's April. We just do a walkthrough usually though.
It's usually in April.
No, I'm talking about a joint meeting.
Usually in April and October.
Yeah, April.
We didn't want to we're planning, need to get that set up. We usually do 2 of them a year. I know we didn't do it last year at all. When I signed the checks tonight, I noticed our MediaCom and our Windstream bill. Do you want to see if you can get a hold of Mechanicsville phone, see what it would take to get internet, how much it would cost?
I have a meeting Wednesday at 11.
Good man. Library, it's still closed. Is there a reason we're still closed? I mean, we got all those kids in school. I mean, can you talk to anybody about that?
There, you can still get books and curbside service, you can't go in the library. So they got, I think, 3 days they're open and answering the phone.
But I'm just wondering, you know, we're letting the kids go to school.
Yeah.
So we're not letting them go to the library, I mean, into the library.
It's kind of something that the head librarian and the library board has decided. So I don't know where we stand now. I see your point though.
And I thank the city crews for all the work they do. Seems like they don't ever get a weekend off. Talked to Jake today, asked him if he's hating snow yet, and like, oh yeah. So yeah, it'd be really nice when it's 100 degrees. He said that, you know, walking around doing water meters about kills them, going through those yards. And I'd like to congratulate Lisbon Wrestling, second place, both state duels and traditional. Great job, 3 state champs, a good year. Anybody else got anything? Meeting adjourned.